Welcome. You got reach review time with Imperial. Let's get into it. So today's review obviously is Joker, starring Joaquin Phoenix. Also Robert De Niro as Murray, who's the late night talk show host, like Johnny Carson and Jimmy Fallon of today. And it basically, this movie is starting as the Joker author is a 30-year-old who's coming up in a time where his mother is sickly and he's a disturbed person. He has a laughing condition that he laughs at anything out of nowhere. That's like, I don't want to say a coping mechanism, but it's a condition he has. And it starts off with him speaking with his psychiatrist. He takes meds, and life is just running over top of him. And his mom is sick, and she keeps looking for a letter from Thomas Wayne. And she used to work for Thomas Wayne. She was a maid, or she did service for Thomas Wayne. And then the service that she did, she no longer worked for him. Now, the story comes out that she states that Thomas Wayne got her pregnant, and they made her sign something, made her look like she was crazy, and they sent her off to the crazy home, Arkham State Hospital, and it would be bad for press, and she never seen Wayne again. So he kept wondering why she, wanted him to meet with them. So she wrote Thomas Wayne a letter and was going to have it mailed. However, Arthur got a hold of it first. And so when he got a hold of the letter, he seen that she said that Thomas Wayne was his father. So he thought it would be a good idea to show up. And then this is where he showed up to Wayne Manor, and he see Bruce Wayne playing. And so Bruce is about 8 or 9, somewhere in that range. And the security guy at the front comes up, and I want to take that's Alfred, maybe. You don't really know. And then he comes up and asks, like, what's his business? And he states who he is. And the security guy, he stated who his mom was. The security guy instantly recognized and say, what you doing here? You know what I mean? So it's some merit, some truth to what the story is. And then he collared the security guy and then choked him a little bit, and then ran off. And that's kind of like, it's a whole, there was a moment on the subway where he was a clown that they show up to, a party clown. People rent them out where they show up to your party, or if you go out of business, they have a clown come. So that's where you see on the trailers where he's chasing some people and they hit him with the sign and they beat him up. Well, it's another part in the subway. One of his boys, once he got beat up that time, one of his boys gave him a gun. And he had the gun, and he's a weird person, so he had the gun and kept the gun with him, and then he took the gun to one of his engagements, a children's hospital, and the gun fell out. And so he got fired from his job. And the agency guy told him that the big guy who gave him the gun, that he was trying to buy a gun off of him, so that he threw him underneath the bus. And then on his way home on a train, 3 men was picking with this woman, and he seen him picking with him, and so he just started laughing. they hovered over top of him. They started to beat him up, and then he pulled out the gun and killed him. So he killed 3 men. Then the whole city was going like wild, trying to find out what who killed these 3 guys from Wall Street. And meanwhile, he's still trying to find himself. He eventually finds a way to get into Thomas Wayne. Thomas Wayne wants to run for governor or mayor, and he slips into where Thomas Wayne was and approaches him, tell him who he is. And Thomas Wayne said, "Your mom was a liar. You know, she was crazy, and she was in Arkham Hospital." And then he punched him because he approached Bruce. So that led him to go to the state hospital, Arkham, and gets the files of his mother. That is where he finds out that the mom was in the state hospital and she abandoned her child, and that she had an abusive boyfriend who, when they found her, the child was tied to a radiator, beaten while she was beaten as well. So he, at that moment, was furious. So while his mom was sick in the hospital, he pretty much smothered his mom, And he started embracing and finding resolve in killing. So he started embracing that, what he was doing. And so the big guy came to his house, said, "Yeah, we found out your mom had passed, and we pretty much want to make sure you're good." And then he came with a little guy that he worked with. Big guy was pretty worried about what he was saying to the cops, and he already had these like shears in his pocket, and so you pretty much know what he was going to do there. He killed the big guy and stabbed him in his neck, banged his head all against the wall, and then it led to his finale. So then he was trying to be a comic. He wasn't really funny, but he caught the ear of the late night late show host. So when he caught the ear of him for the stand-up that he did, they thought it would be a good idea to bring him on. So they scheduled him a visit. Meanwhile, the detectives was on to him. But the city is furious. They look at they was told that the masked man who killed the dudes on Wall Street was a clown. So now the whole city's dressing up like a clown, and they want to rebel and have a revolution. So when the cops was after him, he ran on a train, and there was a bunch of clowns, and then they ended up beating the cops up. He got away, and he went on to the show. Now his show, he came out in his attire, saying his little jokes, but then he admitted on live TV that he was the one who killed the Wall Street guys. But then he broke it down as to why he basically is rebelling out, and he basically talks about the system, that everybody's pointing a finger. The system they think the system is perfect because they decide what's perfect and what's not, and basically he's throwing the middle finger to the system or whatever. So Murray, which is the talk show host, pretty much at this point is disgusted. So he tells Mary, "I got a joke for you," and he pulls out a gun, blow Mary's head off on live TV. And at this point, the whole Gotham City is going off. So they rioting, tearing up the streets, and when he's in the cop car, and I guess they're taking him away, somebody comes and hit the cop car and pulls him out of the car, lays him on top of the car. When he finally comes to, all the people is chanting like, "Get up, get up!" Like they chanting, and he pretty much recognizing the power he has now, and people riding behind him. They tired of being the underdogs. They tired of the system failing them. So overall, that's the story in the synopsis. The ending was great. If they didn't drag the storyline out so much, the storyline could have went about 45, since it's a 2-hour movie, the whole movie could have been summed up in an hour. And then allowed him for the next hour, once he actually was the Joker, to engage and do some things as him actually being a Joker. Because once he became a Joker, it started to pick up, and that's where the action started to come in. And he was like, oh, it's getting good. And then by the time it's getting good, you looking at your clock, movie almost over, and it's, so it's like, man. So it was too much time that went by for the storyline. The storyline went from at least an hour and 20 minutes. No, more than that. Maybe an hour and 30 minutes. And the last 30 minutes it picked up, and then it went. And then it got real good at like the last 30 minutes. So that's where that became a little disappointing for me. However, Joaquin Phoenix, he did a great job being a Joker. And I take it it's going to do well, because everybody's talking about going to see it. So when part 2 comes, part 2 should be better than part 1. As long as they have a good storyline. It should be better than part 1, because he's already the Joker. So now you're going to get into him doing Joker things or whatever. So this is like, it gave the backstory, but not really. You got to know things about the Joker that you didn't know. But overall, in my 4-star rating system, the ending was great. There's no post-credit scene, and Joaquin Phoenix was great. So because of that, I'm going to give it 3 out of 4 stars out of my 4-star rating system. If it wasn't for the ending and Joaquin being great playing the Joker, I would have given it 2.5. But because of those 2 factors, I will give it 3 out of 4 stars. Subscribe and like, share the video. Let me know if you're a fan of comics. Let me know in the comments, is Thomas Wayne, is he really the Joker's father or alleged father or whatever? Other than that, like the video so it can get in the algorithm, I can build the channel. Till next time.